Hello and welcome to the Professional Media Presence podcast series.
Welcome to the Professional Media Presence podcast, your gateway to insightful conversations on the intersection of art and media, all available through open access. Join us as we delve into key phenomena shaping the creative landscape, exploring themes such as art, media, and accessibility, where we unravel the intricacies of representation and respect. Well, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today we are delighted to be joined by Tianjun Li and Ivana Tkalčić, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, two talented artists currently in the residence at Espronceda Institute of Arts and Culture in Barcelona, in the framework of the European project Professional Media Presence. Could you both tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your artistic journey so far?
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Tianjun Li, as known as Tianjun. I'm an interdisciplinary artist and vocal sonic artist based in Helsinki, originally from China. My work explores the intersection of sound, photography, performance, and especially human voice. My current interest is I'm investigating the social movement and the society through the lens of the natural landscape. And actually, I just graduated from my master's degree in contemporary art in Aalto University a few months ago, and I'm excited for my upcoming new phase of artistic journey.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Ivana Tkalčić and I come from Croatia. So my practice is in between art, science and technology, and currently more in the focus on environmental issues. So I work in interdisciplinary and multimedia space. So my background is in economics and both in fine arts, and then further I developed my artistic practice in digital and new media. So for me, the starter of any kind of artistic research is idea or the concept, not necessarily the media. The media develops further with the artistic research, which actually means that it can take any place possible. It can be in a shape of photography, of performance, video installation or video. So my methodology usually is connected to the interdisciplinarity that I mentioned. So I like to collaborate with different scientists, artists, curators, institutions from different fields, and also public in general. My main aim, we can say, is try to challenge a controversial perception and also to deepen understanding of our collective relationship with the world that we inhabit.
Thank you for your introduction. Your works span a variety of mediums and approaches. How would you describe the core themes you explore in your art, and how do they reflect your personal and artistic values?
Thank you. For now, I'm particularly interested in how voice and sound can be tools for storytelling and memory preservation, and also for the tool for imagination in our current world, which is undergoing rapid environmental and social changes. And for now, I wish my work can be the reflection of the fragile balance between human and nature. And I'm currently using sonic and visual elements to create a third place for people to be connected and to immerse and to see and hear the world around us.
Those sound like some very interesting topics. How about you, Ivana?
So my kind of a core theme would be firstly related to technology. In a sense, I was exploring how social media and digital platforms are influencing the way that we are seeing and thinking, and then also our action. So some of the first works were related more into the ethical approach to the technology that we use every day. Currently, the previous project was Astronauts Without a Spaceship, which was actually more focusing on exploitation of resources, but more toward how we can imagine a new, more regenerative future for our world, which is going into the next project, EarthSkin, which I can also elaborate later a bit more, which is emphasizing the parallel between human skin and the soil. So what's important for me is to explore these invisible forces, whether they're environmental or social or digital or technological, and try to make them more tangible. It could be through poetic sensory experience, but I try to involve often some kind of post-colonial critic, ecofeminist, and also media ethic critic, and so on. As I mentioned, collaboration is really important for me to broaden my dialogue of the artistic research.
Thank you, Ivana. And you already mentioned something about your current project, so let's take a look at both of your current projects. Let's talk about the transdisciplinary collaboration, ecological awareness, and the use of new technologies in your artistic practices. Tianjun and Ivana, your works integrate different kinds of disciplines, from performance to digital media, especially artificial intelligence, in a transdisciplinary way. How do you approach this intersection, and how do these fields intersect and shape your artistic process? How do you balance the conceptual and the technological aspects of your works? Tianjun?
Yes, thank you. And for me, I believe, or for all of the artists, that we see the disciplinaries are the medium and vessel for us to how do we express our own thoughts and ideas, how do we see the world. So for me, working across discipline is essential and natural. I started with photography and visual arts, and then I started to explore more about sounds and voice. So for now, I'm combining photography, performance, and sounds, and also the new ongoing technology, AI, to push the sort of boundary of the storytelling. And I think that the voice can be a bridge between different mediums. So whether in a live performance or an AI processed soundscapes. So and I think the most important thing is when I'm navigating those different mediums, I always wanted to maintain an organic and human insight in this digital process. So for now, I don't see AI as a tool, but more as a collaborator.
Thank you. And you, Ivana?
For me, the intersection of discipline is not something that is forced. As I mentioned before, as I studied both in economics and kind of more scientific field, and also in fine arts, I don't see really technology and art as a separate sphere. I think that everything kind of that is in the world, which is now really focused on technology and AI, influences in a way art a lot. It's kind of like a mirror, or art is kind of a mirror to the world that we inhabit and live in. So I think there are many ongoing conversations now which are related to how the technology or AI is shaping perception, but I think there is also a lot of ethical questions that we need to discuss. And in all of this world now, we need to maybe think and reshape what does it mean to be human with all this enhancement that we have now and will have in the future. So we will talk maybe later more about the biases that AI creates, and also how it changes perception. And there is also some kind of sometimes absence of in all these big data sets that we have, and that we also need to acknowledge. So I believe nowadays, I mean, I was really, of course, into technology and exploring all these aspects, But nowadays I believe more kind of in a slower research, uh, even though I use different AI or machine learning technologies. But I think with art we can also allow ourselves, we can give ourselves the time for intuition, for reflection, and also for this cross pollination between disciplines, which I think it's important.
Thank you. In a little bit, I will ask you some more about your project. But firstly, you, Tianjun, your project, Free as a Bird,
Yes.
uses human voice and AI-generated soundscapes to explore themes of migration, ecological loss, and identity. Could you elaborate on how your reimagined traditional folk songs as birds' lyrics, and how this symbolizes the connection between humans, machines, and non-human species? How do you see this project as a reflection of the fragility of the ecosystems and the displacement of both human and nature?
Thank you. For me, this project is also a very new beginning for me to try to work with AI. And I know AI is such a powerful but can be also very dangerous tool for creativity and artists. And so in this project, I see the involvement of AI as an experiment. And so I choose folk songs and also the human voice. They stands for the very natural and original and organic materials that we had in our very old times, and AI, which represent the newest like as a language model to understanding the human world. So in this project, I use the AI to interpret the language from the old folk song about the birds from different cultures, and then AI will use their very unique understanding to create the new bird songs language based on how the birds will sing in their regions. So in this sense, AI use their sort of imagination or understanding to the human world, and also create a new dialogue between the very ancient times and also very modern times. So I see this is very interesting connection in this project, and I also wanted to maintain something very genius in this project, that is even AI is such a powerful and tool as a machine, but as an artist and a human, we need to maintain some the human emotion and how we feel and connected to the world and our memory. So that's why I integrate the human voice as an important part to interpret those AI bird songs. So I use more as an organic materials to express the AI's generated result, but in a humanity way.
Thank you. You've told us a bit about your approach on the intersection of these elements. How do you see them evolving and possible in your future projects?
Yeah, so Free Experts is the beginning of my new explosion, and now it has been involved a lot during the process actually, and I've gained a lot of new inspirations while I was getting deeper into no matter AI or the bird song itself from different countries and different languages. So I see the potential in this experimenting with AI, and I believe it's going so fast, and as I say, could be a tool or a collaborator. So the most important thing I think in my future projects I wish to see is it as a very powerful tool, and but also aware that being critical about this new medium.
Thank you. Thank you for elaborating on your project. It sounds really interesting. Ivana, you explore ecological themes in your art as well. Can you tell us more about your current project, EarthSkin, the ground as human skin? How does this project highlight the metaphorical connection between Earth's surface and human skin? And how do you aim to inspire sustainable and restorative relationships with the natural world?
Thank you for the question. So EarthSkin began kind of as a more speculative and poetic gesture. So for me here I try to explore Earth, but in a sense it's more related to soil. So it's actually soil as human skin. So in a sense Earth or soil I don't see as just as a distant object or just resources that we are trying to extract, but more as something that we can be more intimate with and something that is more alive. So for me, this parallel between the Earth's surface or soil and the human skin is, in a sense, they're both they need kind of protection, but also they're sensitive, they're porous, but they can also regenerate. So we have some common points. I think that through soil and through our skin we can kind of communicate in a more poetic or we'll see in a speculative way with Earth. So here I try to explore more fragile and resilience of ecosystems and as well as the relation to our bodies. So this is only kind of a start of the project. I will try to create something more multi-sensory, which can kind of help or more immersive approach for the audience. So for me, this project is actually built from the earlier research that I also mentioned before, Astronauts Without a Spaceship, which was more kind of focused through the space exploration, and I was trying to investigate why again in this time after the 60s we are again engaging into kind of space exploration, and I try to maybe change that question. Instead of imaging how is it to inhabit other planets and why do we have this need to terraform these other planets, maybe propose that we need to re-inhabit again Earth in a different way, in a more responsible way, and try to shift from extractivism toward a more regenerative approach. So for me, I think it's important. I hope that I can, with this project, inspire more intuitive, empathic approach toward the environment, and I hope that we can do it in a more vulnerable, slower, and healing part for this Earth and also for us.
Thank you. And I'm really curious, coming back to the use of AI, how do you think AI can communicate these pressing environmental issues? And do you think there are any ethical implications when using AI to represent these complex topics?
Yes, for the environment it's kind of double-edged sword in using all AI technologies. So first of all, of course, AI can be, or machine learning, it can be helpful tool in a sense that we can use it to communicate environmental issues maybe in a better way, because we have a better possibility to process a big, large scale of data, which sometimes, even though we are there, can be kind of invisible in a sense because they're so big. But with AI we can use it, and then we can see some climate changes, climate pattern changes. Maybe we can see how the soil degrades, or we can see the data on pollution and so on. So in that sense it's kind of a positive way. So when we also connect that to arts, we don't only necessarily have this mental information, but also we can have kind of emotional impact, which hopefully in the future can sink more in the body, which then we can connect and then maybe do something about it. Other thing which is a bit more problematic is with all this data, a kind of an ethical question, whose perspective are we really amplifying with this, and who is left out. Even in environmental questions, there are actually many countries which are more left out than which are within the data that are analyzed. And then, of course, we know that AI and machine learning is not neutral, so it really depends on the data sets of different assumptions and values that the machine is trained. So, additionally, just the last thing, regarding the environmental issues, is that the paradox that all high technological systems have, which is a big environmental footprint. So even though AI can help in some environmental topics and issues, it has a big environmental footprint, which is kind of problematic.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ivana, for elaborating a bit on AI and on your own project. Let's move to investigate the impact of artificial intelligence on art creation. Moving towards the impact of technology in art, we can see how AI is becoming an increasingly prominent tool or collaborator, like you said. How do you both view its role in artistic creation? Do you think it changes the way artists express themselves? Do you see it as a tool, a collaborator, or something else? Could you expand a bit on it?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think this question is really good because when we're talking about AI as a collaborator or a tool, that we kind of assume the AI has their own mind. It's like we are standing on the same level with the AI when we consider it as a collaborator. But when we think about that, AI, it was created by human and trained by human, so actually it's more like a tool. But in our daily life or the artistic using AI, but they are actually functioning as a collaborator in many ways. So which I want to also discuss about the both sides of AI that we've been discussing so much. That of course for art and creative, and I think AI can be really create a medium that is very accessible to many people, no matter you have experience in arts or creating or not. That everyone can sort of create the art they would imagine in few seconds. So in that sense, I think AI is something very powerful in creativity and arts. But I think everyone also concerned about the AI that it is stealing job from the people, or it's become a violence to the artists, especially those who spend their whole lives like painting or creating, building up their own world, but all of a sudden it just can be copied by AI. For example, just these days there's a news about the Ghibli, the studio in Japan.
Yeah.
They've been working for so many years. They have their own artistic style, but all of this maybe over the night it can be created and copied by ChatGPT in just few seconds. And I feel as an artist myself, a creator myself, I feel it's like a huge like a very stunning moment that you feel like all of your effort into the art form you create, a style you've been working on for so many years, and it feels like everyone can do that now. But I also feel like AI is something unstoppable. It's even though it's dangerous and can be a threat to so many creators and artists, but we cannot stop it. it's the future or it's current that we are facing. So so I think the best way that we can do that we question, we keep question AI, we keep to criticize it, and as I say, it can be a tool and collaborator, and it can also be a threat. But the most important thing, we not take it as granted, and we need to value and recognize the works by the artists themselves for so many years, and also to utilize AI as a tool to become more accessible to many people, public and art creators. And also, except from arts itself, I think AI can also be dangerous, for example, in creating fake news, and or it can also be used by authority if they want to have more control over people. Or so I think AI or technology themselves, they doesn't means negative or positive. What matter is who is using that, and what are those purpose to use those technology. Yes, and that's what I thought about AI these days. And for artists, I think we should face it and to use it and to criticize it.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
expanding a bit on this topic. Now I'm also curious about you, Ivana. How do you view this?
Well, I agree on all the points that we heard before. So, if we return back to art and AI and its connection and relations, my question here would be back to you. We are again asking back, what actually art is. So we maybe had a similar problem kind of 200 years ago, or a bit later, when the photography was invented, and then like in the end of 19th century, beginning of 20th century, and also all the structure that were kind of changing in a point of society and so on. We had a problem with art, what actually is art and what can art actually do. So now kind of we have the similar agenda. In a sense, if something looks like art, it doesn't mean it's art. So, in a sense of generative AI, it can create more or less appealing images, and it can compose and all. It can create a nice visual output, but still it doesn't have something that artists usually do, which is intent. So our intention is important. We create in some kind of context, also from some kind of concepts, and also I think for artists the process is important, and there are maybe much deeper layers behind our work than only in some kind of mimic that generative AI creates. So generative AI it's more like a simulation. So it doesn't create a meaning, it just mimics a style. There is so far no awareness, and it's not critical. So it still kind of needs a human approach, in a sense, to control it, which can be in a good or a bad way. But it still needs to be kind of supervised by a human or artist. So I'm not in that sense against using machine learning tools or AI. I think they can function also as a collaborative, but maybe we can use it in a different way, not necessarily only to generate something, but in a way to reveal maybe some patterns, reveal systems, and AI can help us with all this waste of data that for human brain is maybe too much. To see something in a different perspective. I think all of you that use machine learning sometimes can, even from your own text and images, when you are feeding it to the machine learning, you can see some output that is quite different, and something maybe that change your perspective a bit or shifted your practice. So it can be used in a kind of discussion, maybe discussion with AI, but kind of also through human and AI lens. So for artists, of course, then maybe the practice will change a bit, or it will change a lot, but still it is important how we use it and who uses the AI in that sense. For AI is our mirror. It can be a trigger, a provocation, but the meaning making is still by artists.
Thank you. That is a very, very beautiful view on it. Tianjun, your work deeply involves AI-generated sound and vocal interpretations. How do you perceive AI as a collaborator in your creative process, and what ethical considerations do you face when working with AI? Ivana as well, how do you see this? Technology can support you in your artistic practice?
Thank you for the question. And in my current project, Free Experts, as we've discussed earlier, I see it's like a new experiment between the machine and the human sounds. So I try to use, for example, there's a AI software to create the sounds called Suno. So in this project, I already did like a human voice version of one of the folk song called Hong Yan, which is originally from the north part of China. And it was an old song about the birds and the homesick feeling when you're migration. And so I input that song into ChatGPT, and then so it gave me their interpretation of the new bird language from the original lyrics. So I have the new bird song language. Then I recomposed and reinterpret with those new bird song language, and to sing the new bird song again. And after that, I used the software Suno. I asked them to kind of do a cover of the song, the bird song that I just did. So I gave them some keywords. For example, I want it to be performed by a choir, and then surprisingly, the output of the AI choir, they have all of those amazing professional arrangement of the song that I made, and it feels like a whole choir of machine is singing to you, and it feels very different when you do in with people, like a whole actual choir. But when you hear that it's from the AI, you got very different feeling. I got chill, and I got a bit scared, but I was also amazed. So in this sense, that's what I'm experimenting with this new technology, and I see it's a dialogue between AI and like what we think and what we want to express, and I think the most important thing is we know what we want, and we see AI is not something that can take away our minds, or we are using them as to create something we want, and to see how it can that be, and also we can reflect on the outcome, and how the machine and human voice can be interpreted. And so I think it's a process of experimentation, and it's valuable.
Okay, thank you very much. Ivana, do you view this in a similar way or differently?
Could be similar way. So technology and AI also can support, of course, my practice, and I use it mostly in deep research way. So because most of the starting point for me is artistic research. So when I need to do like questioning process and so on, then I mostly use AI. but also, for example, into other projects. One is, why am I seeing this? I didn't directly, in that sense, use AI as a generative technologies that we were talking about, but I was trying to explore how algorithmic systems are influencing our way of seeing and believing. So I was following my own digital trail for 1 year. So digital trail mostly on social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. And then I was trying to see and document how these algorithms are responding to my behavior. So responding to the algorithm and back in the loop, kind of to create or to see how this personalized media environment is. So here, in that sense, it was more about how technology is shaping our way of seeing. The second one, which is more related to generative AI, but which was created in 2019 and 2020, before all these technology were more used like nowadays. I was with an additional colleague, programmer, working on GAN models. We trained the machine learning model onto data sets. It was actually quite poetic work in a sense, because we trained it on one data set which included birds also, and one data set which was including forest. So here we didn't want, or our aim wasn't to produce an idealistic photorealistic image of bird or a tree, but it was more to trick artificial intelligence or machine learning system to not be able to create a perfect image of a bird or a tree, but more to merge those two organic living systems into some kind of new awkward or dreamlike, ghostly, hybrid animal or object in the end. So for me, again, I use artificial intelligence, but only in a sense, for the work, only in a sense when it's really intentional. So when it's added additionally to the work, not only because of the technology that is currently actual, but because it supports and deepens the practice.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go into exploring some complex themes. How do you believe art can influence public perception of environmental challenges, and what role do you think technology plays in that? Tianjun?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, and definitely art can be very influential to the public when we raise the concern about our environmental change, global warming, and actually we've been doing this for so many years, and that's what arts, one part of the arts mission can be. I think art, for one perspective, art of course can be for everyone, that we want to express our own feelings and ideas, creativity in a very straightforward way. But in the other way, art has the power to shift the perspective and make complex issue more relatable and connected to the audience, to the public. So I think for now, we're talking about AI, technology can be the tool to amplify these messages by interpreting and expanding the way that we interact with, for example, sounds, space, and visuals. And so I think that's it's evolving, and it's getting more powerful if we utilize it in the right way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And how about you, Ivana?
Well, so for me, sometimes when I think about all these challenges regarding the environment and in reflection to art and our public presentation and perception. Sometimes I have a feeling that art or artists need to solve the questions, or maybe that the public is pushing more artists toward solving the questions. But for us, it's more important actually to pose them. So in that sense, I think art can translate some complex ideas and some abstract ideas about environmental issues, and also it, as mentioned, it cannot necessarily only be felt in a scientific way, because with the scientific idea maybe it's a bit harder to connect. But through art we can feel it more emotionally, visually, mentally, and then sink it more into the physical, into the body. So depending on the setup or the project or artistic research that we are doing, it's not necessarily through intellect, but it's more through intuitive approach, so through senses and to different symbols. So I think actually that art can open more spaces, maybe alternative spaces, not necessarily find a solution, but maybe find or describe an idea going into the direction. So art can offer something that is not only measurable, but it can be something more mysterious, fragile, and worth caring for.
Thank you so much. As artists, you both use various forms of media to convey messages about identity, nature, and society. How do you see AI or other technologies impacting the narratives and themes you work with, especially when it comes to those deeper, more complex issues?
Thank you for the question. I think it's something that we are doing initially comes out from our observation to our surrounding, and when we're trying to manipulate those fragmented elements, and we collecting in our own experience, that we kind of can form a new perspective, and we delve deeper into that. And so I think using media and also technology, and they're like coming along with our journey to help us further our experiment and also experience in our journey to see the change in our environment and our change in our social environments as well.
Okay, thank you. And you, Ivana?
So with art and technology, this is now the environment that we live in, so we cannot escape. So in a sense, as artists, usually we embrace some novelties kind of first, and then we share it together with the rest of society. Or maybe we unpack those ideas a bit lightly, and then we share them with the rest. So again here, as I mentioned, it's important to see how we can mediate these kind of technologies. So it's important to see how that affects how we see and how we remember, and we need to think how this impacts us in general. So I think through other projects that I mentioned, EarthSkin, even though we are talking all the time about the technology and AI, I think we need to reconnect also with the tangible sensory world. I have the feeling that as this AI is progressing, for example, when you look now through all the search engines and everything is super connected to AI. So even though we are embracing these ideas, I think that still, as a human beings, we have body in this in this world. So I think we should also kind of embody these ideas and kind of work through body when thinking about AI and of course environment, which is super connected and important.
Okay, thank you. And this also quite relates to the next question. Because in your experience, how does AI challenge traditional notions of creativity and authorship? Does it inspire new possibilities for expression, or, like you said, does it also raise questions about what it means to be an artist?
Thank you for the question. Yes, and we have discussed a lot about the challenge and the new thing that AI has brought us. And from my own experience, I can take myself as an example. I use photography as my primary medium before, and I use also my very intuition to create a new image by manipulate this image photography to create something new, and that can be very, for example, surrealist and very imaginative. But when I saw AI appear, so I found out AI can easily generate very stunning visual effect that I feel like you just skip the process of the training to be able to create those visual effects in few seconds. So I think it definitely disrupt our conventional way of create images or visual itself. But I think most importantly, I found this what AI can now replace is the idea or the concept, because it comes from human, that we are able to use AI to help us expanding those ideas which came from the artist or the people themselves. So I see AI also is challenging and also exciting, and it definitely allows us to explore the new methods of expression, and also force us to reconsider the role as an artist, because we're not longer a visual creator, or we're not longer creating some stunning visual effects, but most importantly, if we can reinforce the concepts and very unique, very concept with humanity idea that is coming from us, that we're able to use AI to create some artworks that with more depth and also with the stunning visual effects. So yeah, it's a new dialogue between human and not human intelligence. So.
Thank you for elaborating on this topic. And you, Ivana?
So at first, I think this challenges the traditional idea of artist and who is artist and what does artist do. So, but also when we think before, still during the time of internet in like 90s and 2000s, there was also kind of similar authorship disruption, because at that time also a lot of data and medium was placed in different platforms in the internet. So after kind of 2006, more and more there was stronger system which could support more and more this kind of data. So already from that time we kind of had the authorship disruption, because someone could place a different image, the other person could download it and said it in a sense that it's their own image. Now we have kind of overload of all the data and all the problems related to the authorship and creativity in general. But I also agree that actually artists will probably, and they are reconsidering the way of how they are working with AI, and also how their practice and the artistic research is going. So in a sense, again, it's for me more toward the intention, why are we creating this kind of work or why are we doing this research, then again about the context in which we are working, and the most important one, kind of a critical thinking, which I mean, we can say AI has, but still it does a lot of hallucinations through their not only visuals but also writing in any other way. So I think we should maybe take this provocation, and from that I think something more creative can be.
Thank you so much. We're nearing the end of our podcast, but I'm also really curious, just in one sentence, how was your experience with the PMP Professional Media workshop this week?
In one sentence, I would say the workshop is an playful and insightful experience, especially it allows us into the VR world that we can sort of create in ourselves. So I think it's a very, very precious experience for us to can put our hand on to create something with the technology.
Thank you. And you, Ivana?
So for me, participating in the workshop was really interesting, especially with Be Another Lab. So it was kind of inspiring and thought-provoking because we had the possibility to embody storytelling to, in a short time, be maybe or see through perception of another person. So it quite opened the new possibilities for empathy-driven media practice, which I think we need more.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you both with us today. Thank you for sharing your insights, experiences, and creative journey. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to add about your current projects or any upcoming works we should keep an eye on?
First of all, thank you very much for this conversation, and it's been very insightful and I feel inspired talking to both of you, and for my future journey, artistic journey. First of all, I feel like I will get more inspiration to continue the development of my project, Free Experts, and also what I would imagine it can end up to be. It would be as a performance combining the video installations, and there will be a lot of possibility. And also I'm also want to explore new possibility in my new project that I want to do with the islands. So I found the islands are very unique, and they're connected, but they're connected by the water, but they're geographically are very isolated with each other. But I found they're facing some issues like tourism, and also the tension between the local and the tourist, and also the post-colonialism. So there's so many to talk about and to think about, and I'm very excited to explore more about those new projects.
Thank you. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. And you, Ivana?
Yes, absolutely. For me also, when I returned back after this beautiful residence in Barcelona, which I was super inspired by parks and botanical gardens, I will have few different upcoming things coming. So in May I will have a solo exhibition in Croatia, as well as several workshops and artist talks, which are kind of related to additional new European Union project on the topic of encouraging citizens' engagement through artist-led innovation. As well, other one is related to our talk, so I will be teaching high school students and students of Academy of Fine Arts on AI tools and usage, safety, and other inspirational things about the AI. So additional to that, later in August and September, I will do another residency in South Korea, in Busan, and many more other. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you once again for joining us today at the Professional Media Presence podcast. Until next time, keep questioning, keep creating, and keep exploring the boundaries of art.
Thank you for listening. The Professional Media Presence project is co-funded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union. Make sure to follow the updates on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, and visit our website pmpproject.eu. Stay tuned for more episodes.